Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to do a read into the energies and try to feel into any words that want to come through to describe this. Feels like things are moving so quickly. So that last reading, I was talking about that kind of collapse energy, that collapse of the timelines. Like it was almost like people were working, like the realm walkers. I had a client yesterday that titled it like the edge walkers, those that can walk in between the polarity, in between the light and the dark, in between the realms, kind of working on these separate pieces, but all connected through the same sort of energy or theme of duality, right? And so they're just this collapsing of the timelines. That's what it felt like to me. And then right after that, it felt like there was just this huge ripple that went through the realm, and so we had that hurricane coming in. So what a perfect example of just coming in, causing commotion, but a huge clearing energy as well. And so we had, you might be noticing that in your own life or in your town. We had a big ripple in our town, and it created all this chaos and frenetic and all this. And but it came right after what I felt with the energy kind of collapsing into something, right? So it's like a house of cards, and you take out the bottom card and then everything starts to crumble. So yeah, it's really interesting, just kind of shaking people up where they need to be shaken up, like hitting fear, hitting obviously with the hurricane survival stuff, and just a lot of this. And then the tendency, so we were talking about this last time too, like the neural pathways, where you have neural pathways of fear or neural pathways of whatever, and how at first they come and you automatically act on it, and then they come and you're kind of like, hey, what's that? And then eventually they fire less, and then they don't fire at all. It's like a lot of that seeming to be going on at a lot of different levels, where you might get kicked up into control or into panic or into fear. But the invitation and the opportunity to just kind of sit with whatever fears are coming up. And what has really been screaming really loud and clear to me recently is how much our holograms are just a reflection of our inner state. Even if it's in the world scene or in the community, or outside of your own personhood or your own family or your own really, really close by hologram, it's still a reflection of something that wants to be addressed within you, whatever your reaction is to it. And so I think that's a really good reminder as we move forward, because the crunches can seem like they're external, they can seem like they're happening to us or to somebody else, but it's all it's all a hologram. And as we come into our power as creators, and that was what was coming up 2 readings ago, all of this sort of pump the wish machine, because we have we're clearing so much that we're able to affect reality in a more direct and faster way, as we're coming into the remembrance and the kind of resurrection of our power. It's helpful to remember that we create our holograms, and that our holograms are created as a reflection of us. So we affect what happens in our world by what's going on within ourselves. So anyway, I'm going to jump into the cards here and see what else comes up and what that gets us talking about. Wow. So Eagle Spirit has your back, and that is a 5 card. Yeah, I remember that was a 5 card. So big changes. As I was shuffling the Wheel of Fortune fell out, so I felt that energy really popping out as well. So again, 5s are about change, big change. So we are going through big changes. There's a lot being shaken up, and yet it's held. Spirit has your back. Spirit has our back. This is part of the divine plan. It's, it just needs to crumble, so a lot of the readings that I've been doing, and sessions as well, and I did a lot this week, there was a huge theme of clearing, but clearing on such a deep level that you feel kind of confused. People have been kind of confused, where they're like, gosh, I don't know what's going on. And myself included, we're it's interesting because I have this analogy, because the one night, it was maybe 2 or 3 nights ago, I woke up and my limbs were asleep. So it would be my hand, and then maybe up to here, and then my leg, and I'd have to wake up and then pump the blood back in and get it flowing before I fell back to sleep again, because then it would just fall asleep again. And it's really uncomfortable. I hate that feeling. And so that was happening kind of all night long. But it's interesting because I like to decode symbols, and I like to read everything like a tarot, because there's information in everything, and so but it was this analogy of bringing the blood back, bringing something back to life that had fallen asleep or gone frozen, and so what I'm finding within myself and other people that I'm talking to as well, it's no matter how much shadow work or how many like dark nights of the soul you've had for how many decades, no matter how much you've excavated your soul, it's like in these energies with the collapses that are going on, in terms of the density that's been holding the matrix in place, that's been holding, the cap, the net, it's lifting. So it's like so much of us is coming back online. So whatever like, for me, it's like self-rejection stuff. So, there were layers of that coming off, it's like the onion, right? We're working on it, but whatever that deepest wound is, we're getting at it to a level that like we didn't even know was there. Like I'm having stuff peeling off that's related to that core wound, but I didn't even know, so there's that confusion where you're like, wow, I'm feeling feelings. It's like a thawing, right? Or like the blood coming back in, like we're feeling things. We might be feeling things or realizing things, or like all of a sudden the veils are falling off and we're just having this like aha moment. It's like a coming back to life, but it's not linear. It's not something that we can necessarily like wrap our minds around because it's coming from such a deep place. And as I'm saying that, I'm remembering that this was a similar energy to a couple months ago. In fact, I wasn't even coming on because I didn't know how to like decode the energy. It was just so confusing and so swirling and so many different levels. So it's kind of like that again, where it's like a whole other round of clearing on, and it just keeps going deeper and deeper. And I'll notice that in sessions where, and I've talked about this before, where there will be a clearing and then there will be a restabilizing, and then often, not always, but often there's another clearing and then a restabilization and then another one. And this is one of those times when it's like that, where like we clear, and then we stabilize, and we clear, we stabilize. And that's kind of what I felt that was going on that night when I kept falling asleep, and my hands, I was like tingling, because it was like it was happening so fast. Like it's happening so fast. It is overwhelming. And again, it's like that house of cards where everything's just collapsing, and it's coming into its right place. So again, just that reminder that there is a divine order to this, even though it feels like chaos. And that's in our bodies, that's in our personal lives, that's in our personal relationships, our community, the world scene. It's all fractals of the same thing. Energy's energy. It moves the same way. It works. The way it works is the way it works, no matter which place you look at it, So anyway, let me move into the tarot here. Yeah, they're coming out nicely. Oh, wow, the Nine of Cups. Oh my gosh. So that's a card of wish fulfillment. So that's really beautiful. And yeah, there it is again, that theme of like make a wish. Make a wish, because in these energies, especially with all the clearing, like even though the clearing's going on at the same time and it might feel overwhelming, the truth of this situation is that we're lining up in a way that we're able to bring forth that which is a match to us. And it's, and I was saying this before, it's not, we can use the word manifestation or we can use the word desires or whatever, but really what it is when we clear out and we're in alignment with ourselves, that which is a match to us, that which is resonant with our frequency just floods to us. And that's automatically what we desire, because we desire from our soul. Our true desires come from our soul. And so time when things are flooding in, that's exciting. That's like the second card, actually the first tarot. So feels like things are moving along in that regard. It's really interesting. Let's see what else here. Wow, the Four of Pentacles. That's interesting, because in this deck, this card always kind of presents to me like sovereignty, like she's protecting something, and she's holding it. She's like, this is mine. I care for this. I care for myself. I care for my temple. It's a pentacle, so it's about the earth. It's about our bodies. It's about, it can be about physical possessions as well, but for this, it's translating more about like protecting the circuitry of your energy, through the body. And again, that message of like when we're leaking energy, like she's protecting this. Her her purse isn't open, there's no dust getting in there, there's no danger of her coins falling out. There's maybe this kind of this city behind her, maybe there's just different things around her. So to me, that she might need to protect herself against. So to me, this is a message of sovereignty and keeping your container intact, because part of how we are able to magnetize in, which is a match to our soul, and to pull in that which is wish fulfillment, or we might not even know what our wishes are, but when we're alignment, things start flooding in. It's like, wow, I didn't even know that I want this, but this feels like an exact match to me. In order to be in that position, we have to protect our energy. We have to protect our energy, protect our bodies, protect our temple, so that our circuitry is not leaking, it's intact. it's intact, and our own magnetism, our own divine energy is running. It's running so that it creates a magnetism. But in order to have that happen, you have to protect and be aware of the energy leaks. So that's interesting. Let's see what else. Yeah, and even behind her, there's a fence. There's a fence between her and the city. Like, she's sitting in her yard. She's carved out a safe space for herself. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm just noticing this little bit of like hair down here. Like, I don't know what that's about. Like, there's something with her hair here and her hair here, where there's this, it's like, there's something going on. There's an energetic going on behind the scenes. And all she's being asked to do is kind of like hold steady, hold her energy steady, hold that sovereignty, hold that circuitry. And there's a movement that's responding to that, behind. So the next card is the King of Cups. So the King of Cups has a real mastery over the water realm. Cups are water. So that's the emotion, that's the energetic, that's the psychic realm. So there it is again. That's the mastery over the psychic realm. Part of having mastery over the energetics and the subtle, that which is behind. Again, there's this whole, you see the outer world, but behind there's this energetic play going on. Part of having mastery is realizing that that's the case, and realizing that what you do or don't do in the physical affects the energy and allows things to flow towards you. So there he is, he's kind of meditating and feeling, just kind of feeling into that bowl. I think he kind of has his fingers dipped into it, almost like he's just, he's feeling it out. He's using his inner senses to know what to do. And she has a similar type of visage as well, where she's feeling into it. She's closing her eyes and she's feeling, so again, feeling behind to the energy, moving more towards, more out of, it's interesting because it's a little bit of a paradox. Like, the way to truly ground on the earth and in this planet is to ground into the energy of it. So it can seem like you're disassociating, or you're moving out of the physical by moving into the energy. But the truth of this realm, there is a behind, a behind energetics, a behind harmonics, that you have to attune yourself to tap into it. And when you tap into that, it takes you behind the facade of, the linear and the boxes, the towns and the fences and all the, like, look over here, this is real. When you close your eyes and you tune into what's behind, that's when you can perceive the truth of reality, and that's when you start communicating with the co-creative force that's on this realm, which is actually more real. It's a wider view of what's real than what we're taught. So again, this beautiful message of and also that spirit has your back in the 5. It's like the change that we're making right now is leaning into the intuition. And again, I always talk about this. The feminine and the masculine polarities in this realm, we had the split polarities, and that's part of what I was talking about last time with, like, no matter where you looked way back in history, whether it was the Atlantean genetic or technological splitting off of the unity, or the Magdalene Jesus timeline of the splitting off of the masculine and feminine, when they were really together, and as a representation, right, an archetype of that, or the Lyran Orion wars, just the splitting, right, the splitting off as we're coming back. Part of that change is coming back into unity, coming back into the truth of how things work in this realm, and as a result of that, things flowing in a natural way, which again includes this, but includes our desires, includes it's really that heaven on earth energy. Because I was reading for somebody today, and we were like fleshing out the reading, and at one point, we realized, like, oh, well, because she was like, well, I don't really know what because the dream card came up, and she was like, I don't really know what I dream of. I don't really know what I want. And I can relate to that, because, like, at this point there's been so much surrender. I don't really know what I want, but it's like, ultimately, we want whatever's in alignment with us. We want what's a match to, like, our true divinity, whatever that is, that's what we want. And to get to that, we're in alignment. And so that's what this is too, coming into alignment with the divine spark, the inner us, the true us, rather than the program or what we've been told we should be, or told our identity, or just going deeper behind that. I know I'm always talking about that, but it's just, we've been so programmed the other way. It's like, you can't talk about it enough. Nobody's taught this in school. Very few people are taught this in their families, so why not talk about it ad nauseum? Because it's like the key, it's the golden ticket to that wish fulfillment. So let's see what comes up next. Okay, acceptance. So that's interesting, acceptance, and that's a 4 card. So yeah, I feel like this is also, the 4s are about stability. For me, they really come about stability, and this is also a 4. So it's like, how are we finding that stability? Again, seeing all of this kind of like magic sparking behind. We're we're working the energy behind it, and we're accepting what's being handed to us. That's sort of that thing too, like what I was just saying about the wish fulfillment, where you don't really know what you want, like, because you can be like, well, I don't want like ego desires. I was talking about this a couple readings ago, or I don't want something just because I like, do I actually want it, or do I just think I want it because society says that we're not good enough until we have this or whatever. But it's like trusting, again, spirit has your back. Trusting that when you're living from that place of inner alignment, and when you're feeling behind to the energy, and you're allowing your intuitive read of the energy to move you, that you're automatically walking your spirit path, your spirit-led path, and that what's coming to you is exactly what you need. And so you accept it, even if it comes in the package of like, something bad, like you wreck your car or something like that. It's like, okay, you're getting a new car, you're upgrading your space suit, your spaceship, you're upgrading your Merkaba, just like accepting all of it, trusting that, when your goal is alignment, and your goal is to move, forward in a way that's intact, and that's honoring the energy behind that what's coming to you is leading you to what's right for you. And then, seeking also what you do desire, and realizing, and I feel like that's part of the thawing that's going on, is like this clarity around like who you've always been. I've heard a lot of people talking about that recently, where they all of a sudden have like an understanding of themselves. They know how to describe themselves, or they're aware of what they've always liked, or aware of what they haven't always liked. Like all of a sudden it's just more simple, and it's again that energy where you just, there's just less confusion, again, with the some of the duality plugs unlocking, and things are just more fluid. It's like the understanding of self is more clear, and so you tend to know what's right for you. You know what's in alignment for you. Well, I've always been drawn to this, and I've always liked this, and I've always whatever it is. It's like your path is starting to open and be clear and wider. There's less obstruction. And so you can just pull it to you. And so it's that fine balance of like accepting what's coming, knowing what you want, but accepting what's coming in, knowing that it's leading you to what you want, And even if what you want is quite general at this point, like my daughter had said to me, because she's always helping me with my dreams and my desires and my manifestation, because she's really good at it. She's always been really good at it. And so she said to me, I think the first step is to to desire for whatever is in the way of you knowing what you want to be removed, and that's happening. Like I have that desire, and now it's happening. It's like things are just unlocking. So again, that reminder of like working the energy behind, and knowing that like the subtlety behind the scenes is actually really, really powerful, and lining up, being the master of the energy, psychic, intuitive realm, being the master of that, and working in that creates really fast effects. And then accepting what's coming in as being part of that journey, even if you don't recognize it, or because it's not a linear thing. It's like whatever you need to get to this place is coming in. It might be something to help you remove a block, or it might be something that is getting you to get in a certain position to meet the certain person that's going to be part, whatever it is, just accepting that. So that's interesting. I'm pulling another moon card. Yeah, there we go. The path, so there it is, accepting the path, whatever the path is to get you through this portal, this portal that you're going, knowing that, and there's portal after portal after portal. It's like, you work a certain point, and then you expand into a new level of yourself, and then you stabilize and you anchor, and then you do another one. It's like ongoing. You're always climbing ladders and going through portals, If you're expanding and you're trusting life, that's the path. Like that's the spirit path where, you can trust. That's the change that we're going into these new earth energies, where you can surrender to spirit. You can surrender and tune into the behind. You can drop the plan. You can drop the trying to control everything, right? And so we were talking about that too, with these energy waves that are coming in, whether it's a hurricane or something that's going on in your town, or in yourself, or in your life, or your marriage, or whatever. to be able to kind of sit with what's coming up and decode it, decode it, understand what it is for you within your circuitry. Like, don't leak your energy thinking that anything is about anything out there. It's about you with you. Every single circumstance or person or instance in our lives is information and medicine. It's again that acceptance, accepting that whatever comes, even if it looks like it's about somebody else, even if it looks like a really horrible thing, you only, again, keeping that circuitry intact, because the only thing that you have control of is yourself, yourself and your own inner alchemy. So keeping your energy close and with yourself, and identifying what this particular thing means for you. What can you learn about yourself? And if as more and more people do that, whatever that circumstance is, because sometimes these circumstances can hang around for like decades and years, and whatever, for whole collectives of people, whatever that is, as more and more people keep their energy intact and decode and sit with and find the medicine use it as medicine for whatever it is that's needing to be healed or illuminated, then those outer situations can change. So something small just in your life, it can change really fast, like instantly when you do that, and then it can ripple out and change between your family, and all these things, because it's literally a hologram. So it's like, again, just like when those timelines collapsed and everything rippled, it's like that. When you collapse a timeline within you, everything will ripple without, and it will take a new form, and that form will begin to be like this, but it really, really starts with keeping that circuitry intact, and really leaning into I keep wanting to say it like that, the medicine of the opportunity, whatever that opportunity is and whatever it entails, knowing that, accepting it as the medicine that it is, and accepting it as the path, the spirit path that's taking you exactly where your soul wants to go in this lifetime. So we're moving out of being slaves of the system and robots of the system. That's the change, really, and surrendering to the soul path. Your soul came in for a reason, and it knows what that reason is. It's been covered up. It's been covered up by the program. It's been covered up by fear. It's been covered up by hijacks that get us to distance our power to, whatever authority or whatever system, or, you got to get your credentials to prove you're okay, and you got to get your doctor to tell you what's wrong with you, and, all these ways that we distance ourselves. We distance ourselves from our inner knowing, which we all have access to. All we have to do is pull our energy back and go within and listen. And so, again, that's the change that we're making. But yeah, and then just knowing that everything that comes to us is part of that path and part of that journey. I feel like I lost my train of thought a little bit, and I'm just repeating myself. So I'm gonna move on and trust if it needs to come out, it will. Okay, so we get, oh wow. The Hive Queen and the Devouring Mother. Wow. So look at that. So this is a real conversation about our feminine energy. The Hive Queen, there's the Queen Bee. It's kind of like a Queen of Wands type of energy, where she sits there. She has herself, this is this. She has her circuitry intact. It's almost similar imagery too, because she has this basket here, and it's full of flowers, and she has this thing on her head. Totally different decks, different artists. She has her bag, and it's it has its little geometries on it, and she's holding it, and then she has this thing on her head. Very similar. Okay, so there's a theme here. This represents the energy of where we want to be, and we want to, again, it's like this would be our inner masculine, like, I got you, I got you, I protect you, I protect your boundaries. I listen to you. I'm listening into what you have to say. I'm going to take action. I'm going to create a fence. I'm going to create a framework for that which you need to bring forward in this lifetime, as part of your soul mission. Versus, okay, that's her. She's got it. She has all her worker bees. She has her honey. She's got it down. This is where we're heading. But the Devouring Mother comes up. The Devouring Mother, and look at her. She's reaching. She's grabbing. She's trying to take. She's trying to make it happen. So this is the energy of when we're not in alignment, we're not allowing our divine feminine energy to guide and inform us. We're not going within. We're not using our masculine masculine energy, our inner masculine energy, to go within and to find the answers, and to decode, and to come back into wholeness within ourselves. We're grasping without. We're not accepting the situation as the medicine that it is. We're grasping without. We're trying to control. If something doesn't go the way we think it should, or something goes that we think is bad, or something happens that insults us or makes us mad or whatever, then we go out and we grasp, and we try to make something happen, and we try to control, and we spin all this energy outward, instead of spinning it inward, so that we can create the magnetism to change our outer circumstances and to pull in that which is our soul mission. Again, maybe that's the point that I lost, where it's like our souls know what it's doing. And so we've had all this stuff covered up, and all the fear that makes us act like this, where we're grasping without, instead of going within, and we're spinning stories, and we're just creating all this like mayhem, and distraction, and we're diffusing our energy, all that life force that we can use, all that circuitry that we can use for magnetism. We're leaking, and we're running it, and we're just diffusing it. So let me clarify that. Let's see what else it wants to say about that. 25 minutes already. Oh my God, that's crazy. All right, I have lots of time today, so I might just keep reading. We'll see. You can just turn me off when you get tired. Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay. So 2 really gorgeous cards right after that kind of like, this kind of gross energy. We get the Ace of Swords and the Lovers. And so this is like my favorite Lovers card ever, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But the Ace of Swords is one of synchronicity, one of like things lining up, one of clarity, the Sword of Truth. It's like clarity. It's coming through for me today like an epiphany. What is that? That is so bizarre. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Oh, sorry. Look at this imagery. What does that look like to you? It almost looks like Wonder Woman's leg or something. And this almost looks like a yoni coming out of the mountain, like the Sword of Truth. Wow, I've never seen this card the way I'm seeing it right now. And there's a crown on the top, and yet it's coming out above the clouds, like it's above the fray, it's above this, so it's above this kind of energy. And that's the thing as well, the lower base, the base, the lower chakras, where you're coming from fear and survival and control, and you move it up higher. And she's literally like stepping out on the higher, where you move it up into the heart center, and yeah, I had a friend of mine, and she was saying, well, my throat chakra is wide open. Once I get above the heart, it's all gravy, baby. But it's like bringing it up out of this kind of energy where you're grasping and trying to control, and the seduction, or the whatever it is, that distorted feminine energy where again, like, okay, so here we come to the Lovers, right? So the Lovers, when that inner masculine within us isn't turning towards us. I always talk about this, but let's talk about it again. Turning towards us to to listen, to get that higher intel, to get the the subtle energies that are weaving, the intuition that's trying to guide us. We're ignoring that. So she feels ignored. She's all alone. She's angry, and she's just she's just a devouring mother. She's out of balance, right? Okay. So, but here in this card, this is so beautiful. It's like, look at this feminine. Look at this inner feminine. She's just here with the tree, with all the apples. Now, granted, there's this up here. So all of this is sanctified. It's like this is not just like, wow, we had the Lyran Wars, and Lyran Orion Wars, and we had Atlantis, these genetic experiments, and we had the split of the polarities, and it's so horrible. No, all of this is part of the divine plan. Spirit has your back, not just now, but the whole way through. Like in the dance of polarity and the cycle of the ages, this is just how it goes. It's just how it is here. So all of this being written, and it's also like this is the way that the energy moves. So there's the feminine, and she's naked, and she's beautiful, and she's connected to this. She's not tied there. She's just surrendered herself. She's just waiting. She's waiting for our inner masculine to get done with his initiations. Like, look at all this fire, and he's like, here's the 200 dark nights, the 4,000 dark nights of the souls, whatever it is, the whole tree's on fire, it's like there can't be much left. There can't be much left when he just keeps trying and trying and trying, like, I'll do it my way, I'm gonna do it, the rogue masculine. So here we have the feminine when she gets distorted. Here we have the masculine when he gets distorted. He's just not. She's right there. She's right there. Just she's an apple. Just pick me. But he's he has to keep going through those fires. And again, this is written. This is how the journey goes. This is because we all have these archetypes within us. We all play this out in our lives. We try to jump through the hoop, we try to control, we try to make things happen, we try to prove ourselves, we try to do all the things, and we just keep burning and burning and burning and burning and burning, because that's, especially now in these energies, that's not how we create, that's not how we get what we want. And so I feel like this is the point that we're at with our egos and with the old energy, where they're just burning on fire. So whereas maybe even just a few years ago, maybe we could like hustle or seduce or take advantage of people to get what we wanted, and it would sort of work and we could sort of survive. But now it's just not. It's like you have to be in integrity. You have to come and bring the two into balance, and we have to figure out how to work with the medicine in our lives to help us to do that, because this isn't going to work anymore. Look, there's nothing left of the tree. There's nothing left. He has nothing to eat. He can't build a house. Doesn't even have shade anymore. Meanwhile, if he just turns over here, and works together with the other polarity within him or within the world, then things can, be that God fractal, where that third energy is created, right? But again, so that's just another way of saying what I was saying about this, the turning within, the turning within, and the, having boundaries against that which would distract and pull you out here through fear. I was talking last time about my dream about the cats in the room, where, pulling away from the matrix and coming into the room full of cats, the cats representing that intuition, and just pulling back from the world, pulling back, and instead of reaching out and grasping and trying to make something happen and burning on that tree over and over and over again, just turn towards her. Just turn towards her. So that's where I feel and again, it's like the journey for all of us, that we go through our awakening. And I feel like at this point, more and more people are making this turn. They're making this turn towards this, and as a result, a lot being really cleared away. So this is the indicator of like it's time, that divine timing where we're starting to see, we're seeing beyond, we're seeing beyond this kind of energy and this kind of energy, and we're just remembering how to do this. So that's kind of like the thaw, or the blood coming back, where it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh right, where again the neural pathway might fire, but it doesn't just take you don't just automatically go into this. Or even if you do, you kind of learn from it, where you're like, hey, wait a minute, like I, again, like letting it all be the medicine, accepting it all, letting it be the medicine that you need. So even if you play it out, you catch yourself, so the next time when it comes, you might be like, oh wait, I remember this, I'm not going to play this out, right? So I feel like there's a quickening of that process going on right now. Okay. All right. Oh wow. Okay, so this is the Ten of Cups. This is an old deck, and my cat's my little Boudica, she chewed on it when she was like, maybe like just a few months old. So it's so cute. This is about 4 years old now. That's how old she is. And it's all worn up, but this is the Ten of Cups. This is the Tarot of the Hidden Realm. And so it's interesting because the Ten of Cups is a card of, I often call it my my like heaven on earth, timeline, the new earth, which is interesting. It's coming out right after I was talking about this is a time where we're turning towards this, and we're making that union, because from this energy, when you have the polarities intact, there's a third energy that creates. What does it create? It creates that which we desire most, which is, this heaven on earth timeline, which we've all been coded with. We've been coded with, and we remember, whether we remember that we remember or not, it comes to us when we're alone in the forest, or it comes to us, when we're just waking up from sleep, or just falling into sleep, or sitting out under the stars. It's the energy that we feel that registers where we're going. What's interesting about this card is it's a very solitary card, so it goes along again with this energy. you know, these energies, because you know, a lot of them, a lot of the 10 of cups, you're like meeting somebody in a garden, like one of them, there's all kinds of lotus, and you know, they're walking into the garden and the little happy family. It's almost like, you know, just like everything's coming together and it's beautiful and it feels good. But this is her, and she's alone, and it's almost like a conjuring, visioning kind of energy, where it's like, you know, the steam is rising, you know, it's like that melting energy again, where it's like you're starting to remember, you know. So it's like, if this is the 10 of cups, and this is the step in, you know, this is representing that heaven on earth life, you know, this is almost like the precursor to it, where it's like you're in that energy is there, you're in the 10 of cups energy, but it's like personal right now. It's like on your own, like you're reconnecting, you're resurrecting yourself, you're resurrecting your desires, you're resurrecting your dreams, you're resurrecting your remembrance of who you are. And it's like, you know, she's just kind of sitting there, and it's rising up. It was frozen, and now it's thawing, you know, it's thawing. The fire ignited, the coals ignited underneath, and it's rising up, and she's receiving it, you know, just like he is. He's putting his hand in the water, and he's receiving those messages from the water realm, from the psychic, intuitive, energetic realm. And it's like our memories are coming back. That's what this feels like to me. There's a thawing, and there's memories coming back. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's interesting because in a lot of the readings, and maybe the energy's shifting, because I did try to do a reading like yesterday or the day before, but I ran out of time, and I don't like to end readings like, oh shit, I'm out of time, you know, so I just dumped the whole thing. But a lot of what was coming up then, and this was just, again, like a day or two ago, was a lot of confusion, a lot of subconscious like stuff was just really, really kicked up. But today, the energy's different, you know. It's on. I almost feel like the energy is kind of like advice. It's kind of like an advice type of energy. Maybe that's what we need right now if we are in that kind of confused energy. But it may also be that there are some people that are starting to stabilize and to get into this, you know, that we're feeling this kind of remembrance energy, where we're just pulling our energy back to receive that which is coming through. So probably a little bit of both, depending on where we're at right now. So, okay, I'm getting thirsty. Okay, so let's see. I think I will see if anything else wants to come up, if it goes in a different direction. And I will keep going if it does. Otherwise, I'll wrap up. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Wow, that's beautiful. So, potential. Yeah, potential, and that's a 9 card. And 9 is close to completion. Okay, yeah. So I feel like we are very close. I feel like I was saying, I feel like this is a time, and again, this change, because this is Spirit has your back, and there's like this movement going on, and like I was saying before, like things happening really quickly, the energy moving really quickly, a lot clearing away quickly, a lot integrating quickly, and it's like right around the corner is this potential, you know, where it's just a potent time. It's a potent time, and it's interesting because like the last time, again, the energy was kind of focusing on the one that I didn't post, around the clearing and around the confusion and around a lot with the subconscious, you know, but it also came out with a temperance card, and that was interesting because like 5 days after that reading that I did about the collapse, I got the temperance card like every single day for like 5 days. So it was like so, and clearing cards. So it was so much about that integration, that reintegration, which is kind of like this, like resurrection, remembering that which we forgot, that we didn't even know that we forgot, you know. So it's just ripe with potential right now, the field. So even though there may still be a bit of confusion energy, I'm feeling less of that right now. Maybe you are too. Maybe the energy's just shifted. It's like there's just this huge potency to this energy. I'm going to pull a little bit more. I didn't do my Slavic tarot yet. I'm going to do that. Okay. Ooh, okay. I don't think I'm going to take all those. That's quite a bit. But I'm going to take this one. Oh, yeah, interesting. Okay, so the Knight of Wands. So this is a card of fast movement. It's also unstoppable. You know, it's unstoppable. You have a fire in your belly. Yeah, your blood has come back into your hands. The waters have unfrozen. You know, they're turning to vapor, and there's just a quickness. There's a quickening happening, okay? So it's like we're close. You know, we're close. We're close to things landing. We're close to all the potentials that are going around. We're close to this sort of like wish fulfillment. Again, some of the advice and the reminder to yeah, just everything we talked about, you know, like keep it in, don't leak that energy, be in acceptance, don't be in resistance, don't turn into this where you're trying to control things and resenting or getting in your head or trying to just let it sit with it and let it reveal itself to you. Let it reveal itself to you. And there's so much potential. There's so much potential for fast moving developments in alignment with this, and also the true meaning of the Ten of Cups, regardless of how it's coming through in this reading, which is that heaven on earth. So a lot of potential right now, a lot of thawing, a lot of remembering. And again, just that kind of, stay with this energy, because it is going to take you somewhere. So even if some of these things that are going on in your life or in the world are scaring you, and this kind of energy is kicking up, I feel like this is just a reminder that clarity is here to be found if we just pull back just a little bit. If we just pull back, there's like huge potential to make progress really, really quickly. So, all right, let me get a closing message. See if there's any cards. Oh yeah, I didn't use this one. Okay. Use this card. I never remember the names of my decks. Responsibility. Yeah, exactly. It's like we have a responsibility to anchor these energies, and it's like, this kind of circuitry is strong, and it can pull us, especially when survival stuff is getting kicked up, especially when just like what I was talking about, with like the duality timelines collapsing. Like if we don't want to look at it, or we're not like acclimated to looking at things in the really big cosmic picture, we can look at it at any level. We can, because it's all fractals of the same thing. So even, things falling out in our own lives, like marriages or jobs or, like identities or whatever it is, it's like, that's where it hits us, it hits us in those core places. That's where we're able to remember. And again, remember the potential is there to awaken to more of ourselves. But that there's also the potential to spin us out, because it's hitting us in really deep levels, but part of why it's doing that, again, that acceptance is for us to unplug them, for us to alchemize on really, really deep levels. So again, to really sit with that, there's a raven. And so ravens representing when you've earned the right to more magic, so there's that. Can you hear? There's that there's that potential again. There's the potential to really, really up level. And again, trusting spirit, trusting that eagle eye vision, amidst this energy. If you're in this energy of fear, to know that it, again, the acceptance, to know that it's for you, and it's taking you where you need to go. So again, that responsibility for to your soul, like I often, sometimes when I would go through really hard crunches, and I'd be like, I want to give up, but I can't give up, and I can't turn into this, because I know that if I leave, when I die, if I'm not responsible and I don't go the whole way, and unite my polarities and do everything that I'm supposed to be doing, that I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail at my mission, and I'm going to be really, really upset. It's like the whole reason why we're here, we're responsible. We're responsible to land these energies. And so, it's like, and that was one of the things, I noticed with my daughter too, when she was going through her really, really hard trial. It was like she really wanted to give up. But when I would remind her of the bigger picture, then it would ignite her, because, bring the blood back, because it's like that service piece is so huge, because especially a lot of us that go through the trials that really bring us to our knees, we're really powerful. So we chose to take on those trials. We chose to take them on, because we're powerful. And why did we choose to take them on? Because we want to be of service. We came here to help. So that reminder of the service piece usually brings us back to life. It's like, no, I have to do this. Like, I can't, if it's just me, maybe I can give up. But if it's for everybody else, I'm going to keep going. And, it helps us find our strengths. So again, but just that message of like, it's more than just us. It's more than just, again, we can look at it at any level, any fractal of the same thing. It's holographic, but we can also stretch it out really wide. Where it's not just us. It's not just our families. It's not just our communities. It's not just our world. It's not just the cosmos. It's like, it's not just this timeline. It's like, it's from the beginning of time. It's from the beginning of time, in the beginning of the end of the eternity, right? So just to get really big picture can really help us get our shit together, like snap us into gear here, and stop with this kind of energy. It's just a neural pathway, it's just a pattern, it's just where most humans function. But it's like we do have a responsibility to allow that sort of truth to bust us through, to step onto that higher timeline, to walk in these higher energies and anchor them down. And again, the best way to walk through them is to pause, to pull our energy back, to see everything as an opportunity to come into greater alignment. And again, our souls and spirit, however you want to think of it, has a plan. Our divine selves know what we're doing, and to surrender to that path, and to allow it to unfold, and to allow that remembrance to rise, that blood to come, to come back into the body, and that frozen water to thaw. So I think I'm going to end there. I might have been really repetitive, or maybe it was necessary. I don't know. I always go back and listen. I'm like, no, it's fine. It was fine. So hopefully this isn't the aberration. And 44 minutes. So thank you for listening. I hope that was helpful for some of you. And yeah. So yeah, whatever. All right. Much love to you. Bye bye.